All right.
Second meeting, so what you can expect.
Jesus, lights make me look deathly pale. Okay, whatever. Okay, I'll just recap. So I wanted to be like super formal. I wanted to be like a discussion where people can come and bring valuable information, and meet others that are also interested in crypto and make some money in the process, and also make some friends. So this is our logo. I want to ask you guys what you guys thought of that.
I still think we should put like the Bitcoin symbols on the coins, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin stuff. That'd be so cool. Yeah, but I don't think any of us have like the graphic design experience.
Oh god.
So if anyone
Gotta
else
find
also-
that.
Yeah, but you see how they're shaped like moving directions?
Yeah.
It's gonna be really personal.
What can you like put a picture of the coin on like the window? Yeah. You have to like.
Because it's like
Yeah.
a perspective. That's like the one thing I think it is. Because then it's like crypto. Like to the moon is the beat.
That's why it's
That too. Very observant, bro.
Morning club.
Kind of
All right, bet. So this is just like the whatever. Agenda for the meeting today. So we'll talk about Ethereum and smart contracts. Market discussion overview, meme of the meeting, coin of the week. Half off drinks at Harper's. Let's fucking go. So Ethereum. What is Ethereum? Do you guys know? Like, have you guys heard of Ethereum? Okay. Do you guys know what it does at all? Besides Johnny, maybe Choma. Okay, bet. So basically, Ethereum is a smart contract blockchain.
I was like,
I'll get there. So basically, I'll go over what smart contracts are, and then what is a blockchain? A blockchain is basically like, I have a good definition on my phone. A blockchain is a distributed and fuck off, an immutable ledger to transfer ownership, record transactions, and like track assets. So basically, it's like a distributed like database of like things that happen, and each person has a set of their own database. There's other smart contract blockchains. Ethereum's not the only one. There's, have you guys ever heard of Solana?
Is it Cardano?
Yes, Cardano is one. But
I know Cardano have a ton.
yeah, so Ethereum has had smart contracts for a very long time. Cardano is the one that has not.
I thought they just got.
They just got them after like 3 years,
Yeah.
which is like really long.
Yeah.
But
They went from 1 to 3 though. So.
yeah, I know, right? Well, now it's back to 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then there's like Avalanche, Solana, like you said, Cardano. There's like a bunch out there, and it's kind of like it's almost like picking the company like that's like in the early internet days, like trying to pick Facebook over like some random other like thing or whatever, or Google. Investment incentives. So it's the first to market advantage. So it's the first smart contract blockchain, and then percentage increased. And it's like continuing to increase. So it's had a 540,000% increase. Yeah, I know, right? So obviously that's fun to look at. We probably won't get that with Ethereum anymore. But there's other like small market cap shitcoins that can do numbers that are close to that. Basically, like imagine if you had like a coin that's worth $40, but like $1,000 into it, it's gonna go up like I can't remember.
500 for it,
Yeah,
or 5 million,
54
400,000
million.
UA.
Yeah, put $1, you get 5,400. No.
Yeah,
if you bought 0.81, you get that.
yeah, so it's 1,000, it's 5 million.
Oh wow, wait. I think we're talking about two different things. I was talking about just like a new shit coin. Yeah. But that's fun to it's obviously fun to look at. So what did you say, Tom?
I said if shit coin, you guys hit like a week.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
could also be the opposite.
Yeah.
That's what sucks.
Yeah, that's one thing. It's like the coin can go down 100% and it can also go down another 100%. So it's hard to call the bottom of certain coins and whatnot, but
They're called shit coins for a reason, right?
yeah.
How do you kind of tell the difference between shit coins and legit altcoins?
So there's like, yeah, a lot of popularity, kind of like security, like how many times it's been hacked and like how many times it's been like re-bought up and like distributed, like total value locked. So like you can look at like a protocol's like how much money it has locked into it.
Market cap, probably.
Yeah, like market cap. Yeah, so there's a bunch of different ways. There's like ones that are kind of blue chips. Those like a lot of the ones on like the top like 50 or 100 on like CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap. Those are like more. Some of those are blue chips where it's like tried and true for the last like 4 years. They've been doing well.
Is there anything that kind of like at those where they can easily spot like the blue chips, the chips, those chips, where they're kind of tiered off? Any resources that hold that? You just kind of have to know.
Yeah, at least right now it's kind of like you have to know. I think there's probably something or there's like, so if you look up like for like a protocol, that's basically like a protocol is basically like a group of smart contracts, and then it creates like almost like a website you can interact with. But like you can look at like a protocol and like see what it does. So like lending for like taking out loans, which would be like Aave. You can see that that's like the most well-known like lending protocol on the Ethereum blockchain.
Okay.
So then like you can kind of like look up like that's like one way to do it, I guess. And like see the top of its category, I guess.
What is the application use of smart contracts? What do people actually use them in daily activity? You said.
Yeah, I'll get there. Actually, I'm about to go over smart contracts. So I want to break it up a little bit, show the name of the meeting. Also, so we have a group meet. And then you guys can send your memes to it if you want. If you don't want to, it doesn't really matter. But I have some good memes. So smart contracts. So what are smart contracts? Gonna pull up this video that explains it pretty well.
I hate it. I hate it. So, have you ever heard of Kickstarter? It's where when you have an idea but you don't have the money, you basically make a page and show off your idea in hopes that other people donate to your project. For example, I might have an idea for a book that explains cryptocurrency ideas and concepts. Well, I'd create a page and say that I have a goal of getting $1,000 in donations. In turn for people donating, I'll give out a book to everyone who donates at least $10. So I run the campaign and it takes around a week and I come up with $1,300 in donations. Kickstarter will hold that money for me, and since I reached my goal of $1,000, it'll give me all of the money that has been donated. However, if If I didn't reach the $1,000 goal because, for example, my grandma didn't donate or something, then I wouldn't get anything and all of that money would be returned to the people that donated it. A smart contract is exactly like this. It's a piece of code that does something if something else happens. A lot of people call it if this, then that. The most common smart contracts are written on the Ethereum network using something called Solidity. So let's go over some examples of purposes of smart contracts. You could write a piece of code that says, if you give me 5 Ethereum, in turn, I will give you 20 basic attention tokens. If you have at least 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, 20 Ethereum will be added to your account. And if the temperature is over 95 degrees for more than 4 days in a row this year, Farmer John's account will receive $100,000 as crop insurance. Now,
So those are some of like the just like potential
I
uses.
love how they use basic attention tokens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Commercial used to be very valuable. You would take out the limit.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And it gives like,
easy to
we can talk about it more later, but there's like a bunch of.
write a smart contract where people could donate Ethereum to a certain address. And then if that contract address reached a certain point, maybe say 500 Ethereum, then we could give each donor a portion of an online work, such as an artistic NFT or access to read an online book or even join a community. The purposes of smart contracts are endless. But when it comes to smart contracts, there are 2 main things that you need to know that makes them beneficial to everyone. Number 1, they are immutable. This means they cannot change. So you remember how I said some people call them if this, then that? It's because most smart contracts do something when they get triggered. They are basically just code on the blockchain that gets ran. And once it's on the blockchain, it can never be changed. Now, the downside of this, you might be thinking, is that if there is a bug or the code is inefficient, it will be a bug and it will be inefficient forever. However, if you wanted to, you could just create a new smart contract and tell people not to use the old one. In fact, this happens very often. The second thing you need to know is that they are distributed. This means there's no discrepancies. You can't hire a lawyer and be like, that wasn't our agreement. These smart contracts are an agreement between a few parties online that can be automatically executed if certain conditions are met. Smart contracts are a piece of code designed to remove human error and issues. In fact, you couldn't hire a lawyer even if you wanted to. The code is on a bunch of computers around the world. In fact, anyone, if they wanted to, could see your smart contract and how you participated with it. So now we have financial agreements that nobody can argue because they are code, they don't change, and everybody has access to them. Now, you might not understand what the power of technology like this is, but to help you get the hang of it, let's go over some examples. Number 1, a flash loan. What if I told you that you could borrow $10 million with no money down? Well, on the Ethereum network, you absolutely can, but only if you write a smart contract that pays it back in the exact same minute that it is borrowed. That's right, you can borrow millions of dollars to do something for you on the Ethereum network if you know how to code it. So here's the catch. All of the money must be paid back. So you may be wondering, why would we want to do this? Well, imagine you could buy some Dogecoin for 50 cents on Coinbase and then sell it for 55 cents on Gemini. You could theoretically borrow $10 million and buy a whole bunch of Dogecoin on Coinbase and then sell it to Gemini and then pay back the original loan of $10 million with some interest. This is called a flash loan. And some guy made $360,000 in a few minutes. By creating one of these, that did pretty much the example that I just described. Here's the kicker. The smart contract can check itself. It can run a simulation of what you programmed, and it can see if what you told it to do would actually be able to pay back the lender after it does the code. And if it can do that, if it can immediately pay back the lender, it runs the code and you can borrow those funds to do whatever you want to do. You could never do this with traditional finance, but you can on the blockchain. Next up, we have number 2, which is insurance. Did you know, but code and you can borrow.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, how do you transfer from Coinbase to Gemini? I thought like when it's in Coinbase.
So you would, your smart contract would do that for you automatically.
Oh, the code that you write?
Yeah.
Okay.
And like a lot of the code that you do, I don't know if you necessarily do it with like exchanges as much, but there's like DeFi like protocols where it's like there's like Uniswap and SushiSwap. So those are like exchanges that are like decentralized, so they're trustless. Basically that's like kind of like getting like, it's kind of like complicated to like just say it or like explain it all, but I think a lot of like these kind of like arbitrage opportunities would be between those. I don't know how to write Solidity at the moment, so, yeah, I wanna like go, I wanna teach people, or like at least give them like the opportunity to go to learn how to.
Some of those funds,
But, he said how does the lender make money? You pay interest on it.
Yeah, it's been break up. So-
do whatever you want to do. You could never do this with traditional finance, but you can on the blockchain. Next up, we have number 2, which is in
Wait, did he say it?
the
or
lender.
Interest
It
on
runs the
payback
code and you can
part.
borrow those funds
Where?
minutes. By creating one of these, I did pretty much what we want to do 55 cents on Gemini. You could theoretically borrow $10 million and buy a whole bunch of Dogecoin on Coinbase and then sell it to Gemini and then pay back the original loan of $10 million with some interest. This is called a flash loan and so would actually be insurance. Did you know this? But you can on the blockchain. Next up with that, if you can immediately pay back the lender, it runs the code and you can borrow those funds to do whatever you want to do. You could never do this with traditional finance, but you can on the blockchain. Next up, we have number 2, which is insurance. Did you know you can create an entire insurance company with just a few smart contracts? We would just write something simple like this. If Farmer John gives
Do you guys have any questions? Or should we keep them to the end? I don't know, like.
Just keep on and after.
Okay.
us $2,000, and if it is more than 95 degrees for 4 days in a row in Missouri, pay Farmer John $10,000. So this is basically insurance. Farmer John can be sure that if his crops die from a heat wave, the smart contract will know that it happened due to temperature changes and pay him out his $100,000 insurance. Now you might be asking, how the heck does a smart contract, a piece of code, know what the temperature in Missouri is? Well, with the help of something called oracles. So oracles are helpful tools to any smart contract. Essentially, they are a trusted source that gives real-world information to anything on the blockchain that requests it. Now, oracles can get confusing, so we'll leave those for another video. You just need to know they send real-world data to a smart contract. Now, another question you might be wondering is where does the initial
Have you guys ever heard of Chainlink?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an oracle.
Okay.
$100,000 come from? Well, you have to imagine that investors who wanted to start that insurance company would have to pool their money together to be able to front it. In fact, they would have to lock it up in that smart contract whenever Farmer John buys it. They cannot do anything with those funds until the end of the summer, because at that moment, the smart contract owns that money. Then at the end of the summer, if the insurance has not been paid out to Farmer John, the initial investment of $100,000 plus Farmer John's $2,000 premium get paid back to the investors. Now, insurance could be and probably is going to be a very profitable use of smart contracts. Number 3, we have token switching. So when it comes to smart contracts, one of the most useful things that you can do is create a pool of money with 2 different tokens. You write smart contracts to allow traders to switch out one token for another token. And if one increases in volume, you increase the price of the other token. This way you keep steady value in the pool. This is roughly how a decentralized exchange works. And if you're curious what that is, you can check out our recent video on something called Uniswap. That video explains it beautifully. You can write a smart contract that says, if you give me 20 apples, I'll give you 30 coconuts. Except the apples and coconuts are Ethereum and basic attention token. So a smart contract can allow you to switch tokens. Token switching opens up a whole new world for day traders or investors that want to get into a specific coin that isn't currently on a major exchange like Coinbase. Instead, they could buy a coin that is available and then use the decentralized exchange to swap those tokens. And lastly, our last example of a useful reason to have a smart contract is to buy a house. So if you haven't already, you should watch our videos on NFTs because you need to understand those and their purpose to get this example. So imagine you took the house or the apartment that you're living in and you took the deed and you put it on the blockchain. It's not owned by you anymore or the bank. In fact, it's owned by whoever has the deed on the blockchain. There might be a day where we can use a smart contract to buy and sell a house. Instead of going through the usual process that takes weeks, advertising the house, securing the funding, using escrow, getting insurance, and the dreaded closing. You could just send an offer right on the blockchain. And within minutes, the other person can accept or deny. If they accept, you immediately own the new deed, but the other person immediately has your payment. Now, this would be very useful for anyone wanting to get into the real estate market but are stopped by the high fees, or even banks who want to have a higher profit margin on their mortgages. Imagine if you could buy and sell a house as quickly and easily as you can buy and sell a stock. With blockchain, that would be possible. So as we end this video, we hope that you've learned something valuable from it. And if you have, consider leaving a like to reward our hard work and possibly subscribing to see more awesome cryptocurrency and decentralized financing.
Is that being used right now?
I've seen it.
Maybe in some super niche cases.
No, I have not seen it in houses, but
That's not for.
how do you see it? News?
Yeah, I did have a question on that. Like, what is the basic protection?
I've had some.
Oh, well, that, it's just I know Brave, if you have a Brave browser, that's what I use, they give you that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you-
Yeah, they just pay you. It's a browser. It's very good for privacy stuff. And then they pay you like $2 a month. You know, so
They also
I have no clue.
have an ad blocker built in.
Yes,
I think,
yeah,
too.
that's what else.
So it's like comparable to Firefox, like for privacy, but it's like, what? Yeah, you can make it very private, like one of those private browsers. Like for like just clean that stuff. What?
How do they pay people to use it?
Ads.
Yeah.
You can direct ads on the TikTok.
Yeah, so
But
like,
I actually have not seen one, so I don't know.
yeah, they don't
that
have
makes sense.
ads.
Yeah,
So-
don't they block the ads?
I
I actually don't know how to.
Yeah, I can't remember, or it's like,
But when you Google stuff, there's ads there.
Well, I know that, but it's not Google.
So it's
yeah,
like
no,
if you
there's
search
it's a
up
built-in
on-
ad blocker.
Yeah,
so
but
there's
that's
no
what
ads.
YouTube is, right?
Sounds like a.
No, it doesn't.
Sounds like a one-way.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
Oh, yeah, it's sick. I paid like
That's-
$13. So I don't know.
that's probably not ads. You're just following
Use your
your
browser.
Yeah.
But they pay it to you.
That's just my.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basic.
And it's cheap, it's like 70 cents right now, and then it's like, God, 150, so go back, 5%.
So publishers of digital advertisements are rewarded for user attention with basic attention. The more efficient their content is at generating sustained user attention, the greater the publishers then the revenue comes at the same time advertisers. But if it's
Why not just pay US dollars though? Like, where is that? used at?
well, because it's like it's built into like a smart contract. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My question is, if you code a smart contract, could you skim with 1% off the transaction, or how does that?
Yeah.
I spend time in a smart contract,
Mhm.
how would I make money?
Yeah, so normally like if it were to be or like what you can do is so we'll take example like Uniswap. Have you guys ever heard of Uniswap?
I've heard of it, but I don't know.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty like niche, like getting into like the weeds of crypto or whatever. But basically like it's almost like fees, like on an exchange. So you can program those, and then the fees can go into like a basically like a pool, or like you said, like to a certain wallet. And there's like normally when someone's like programming smart contracts and they're working for a company or like a protocol, depending on how they do it, they'll get paid like a salary and then also some token incentives on top of it. So like if the project does really well, you're one of the first people that starts coding on it. It's like you're gonna have a ton of like the tokens. And yeah.
So there's not a lot of freelance.
It feels like there could be. It feels like there could be. If you just
Feels like it, like,
No, there is.
You just have to advertise yourself or find a space like.
I feel like that'd be huge. Thanks, literally, though.
Yeah, there's
Cool way to learn.
actually like super like the jobs for it is probably the most like in need of jobs for Solidity.
Yeah. Are there any websites that use that? I know.
Yeah, yeah. I can tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it is. I can tell you some. Do you know any languages right now?
Python, HTML, CSS,
Okay, cool.
so.
We can talk after.
I
I
want
can
to
send-
get machine learning, 'cause I know that's huge. Just like that, Python.
Gotcha. What the hell is the
It's extend browser. So you gotta scroll all the way to the right.
Haha, okay, so, let's see if there's any. Coinbase is normally pretty good. I'm telling you.
The basic attention token is an Ethereum-based token that is designed to improve digital advertising on the web.
Yes, here.
It works with Brave, a new web browser built for privacy and a safer, faster internet experience. Basic attention token, or BAT, was created for consumers.
I would not say it's fast. If anything, it's the same. I would not say fast.
Wait, faster than what?
So, wait,
Oh, okay.
what that's telling me is Brave is the one that uses that, and somehow
Yeah.
they do follow your attention places. It's not like specific ads or seen on videos. If it works through Brave, like, let's watch the video.
Yeah.
It says
Consumers, publishers, and advertisers. Consumers get paid for viewing opt-in private ads. Publishers get rewarded when consumers pay attention to their content, and advertisers get access to an audience that has opted in to seeing their ads. To use BAT, just download Brave and switch on an optional feature called Brave Rewards. If you opt in, you'll receive ads that don't compromise your
Yeah, I've
privacy.
not seen one
Brave
ad.
also blocks all the other ads that
Yeah.
can
I've
affect
not seen
your
one
health.
ad.
When you consent to viewing ads on Brave, you earn BAT as compensation for your attention.
Some of like the things
I've
might
not
be,
seen one ad.
so some of the things like even like recommendations, like how to lock the full potential of your mind. That's an ad, but it doesn't say it's an ad at all.
What is that from Brave? I thought that was just Google.
I think this is like YouTube algorithm, but they might pay. It said that they,
Okay, so if it's like that, then yeah, I have seen ads.
yeah.
Consumers get paid for viewing opt-in private ads. Publishers get rewarded when consumers pay attention to their content, and advertisers get access to an audience that has opted in.
Yeah, so
Like Coinbase, this thing that played before this video, was that Brave putting that on there, or was that YouTube putting
Looks
that
like
on
they
there?
work together. This is the Coinbase YouTube, and they can be used for Brave. Although, just because they want to teach everything crypto.
I don't
So
know.
This is a crypto use case.
I don't know.
what was the question? Like,
So YouTube has ads.
yeah,
Even if you don't use Brave, it has ads. So is Brave putting ads on the, I don't understand how Brave would have a private ad where it shows ads. What's a
So,
private
yeah,
ad?
well, Braves ads people.
Well, it's gonna be something like.
Yeah.
When you Google
We used to
something.
get-
I did not see that.
You search something in Brave, is it the Brave search explorer? Or does it use?
Why do you use
Oh,
the phone?
nice.
Okay, and I don't think that would be the case, 'cause it's like whatever like search engine you use can direct it towards specific people that pay them,
Yeah.
and then that's how they make money.
I don't know.
Search
That's
engine.
a great ad block, so.
Yeah. How they making money, damn it?
So that's one use case for smart contracts. I had like smart contract use cases. We talked about houses and
That's
NFTs. Do you guys know what NFTs are? Okay. So it's like, yeah, so like you can like attach like a house to it or whatever. I trade NFTs. Yeah. And then I think they're like 400,000, like the floor right now. Yeah. But yeah, no, I have like pudgy penguins. Those are like probably the most like well-known ones I have. But it went to shit. The NFT market went to shit. So honestly, it would be a bad time to buy some stuff up. But yeah,
I know
sure.
about it. Very niche market. It's like trading cards.
Yeah. But like, here's the thing, like, so as people get more and more like insecure, like you walk down the street, right? And like you like look people in the eyes, or you try to, like nobody will really look you in the eyes.
Yeah, I don't know what, doesn't that piss you off? It is so fucking annoying.
That's such a big eye thing too, it's such a big eye thing.
I wouldn't get mad, I would get mad.
I get pissed.
It's like
Look
the
in the
straight
fucking
face.
eye. Look at your face. Don't look at it.
Or like at least just say hi. But like, so like So people are like starting to not even do that. So like, and like, also if you look at social media, people post like all these like pictures that are like super like not really who they are. And so it's like, imagine like what that's gonna be like. Like that happened in the last like 10 years, right? Like Facebook is like what, 15 years old? Like 2005 or 2006. Yeah, so like in that time span, I feel like social media has made us more like conscientious, like or like self whatever, insecure about like certain things. So I could see like people starting to use, not everyone, I don't think, but like some people starting to use like profile picture projects instead of their own face as like their like internet identity. So I don't know. I mean, it's like if you look at like the federal government like seal, it's like you know exactly what that is.
Yeah.
So it's like because it's like
Hoping it's out of the way,
Huh?
not doing anything for the
yeah, no, that's retarded.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then so he talked about like insurance. You can take out loans. So if you put in like 100% of your crypto in, or like a certain chunk, you can take out like 75% of it, or it gets up there even more. It's like kind of like a lever. You're like leveraging your money.
Do you know the interest rate on those loans? Or are they different?
Some of them even pay themselves off. Yeah, it's kind of like crazy. Yeah, but like after like 10 years, it'll be paid off. They'll own it.
Well, that's why DeFi is so interesting. 'Cause banks and stuff, they have all their more expenses. Which is why they can only go down like 3%. But
Yeah.
DeFi go down to basically nothing. It's like profitable.
Yeah.
All those are expenses.
Yeah,
That's
it can-
why inflation, right? Because you, at the end of the day, you can't buy food with crypto yet, right? So like all this profit, so needs to be.
Well, you
converted.
can, you're like with the Venmo card.
You can send, you have a crypto wallet on Venmo yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you technically, I mean, I think it would work.
I mean, since Bitcoin's like inception, it's been deflationary price. It's been a hedge against inflation this whole time. You know?
Yeah.
It's always gone up 4% or whatever inflation, and now it's 5.8. But
Oh, it's not 5.
yeah,
Inflation?
it hit 5%.
It's probably like 30.
Well, are you talking about consumer price inflation or asset price inflation?
I'm just talking about like, okay, what inflation do you? Because I've never like.
Consumer
looked
price
at
inflation in terms of what's in like the grocery stores and stuff. That's
Okay.
probably around 5%. When you go asset, real estate, like cryptocurrency stocks and stuff, that's over.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's
So it's just kind
yeah. Like Taco Bell thing is like 130.
of- Yeah.
All right, yeah. So we're getting really into it now. But yeah, no, it is. Yeah, well, it is actually like still inflating because you're still getting new coins in the market that haven't been mined. They're probably like 21.
Well, it's 1%.
Yeah, no, it's very
One
small.
Bitcoin is 20 million, it's that.
Yeah,
So,
and like, well, Satoshi had like 1 million too.
so yeah. Well, they say
He's-
around 18. So
If he's one human, he's the richest human on planet
it
Earth.
will be.
No, I think he already is.
I don't know.
Geez, we're getting into the conspiracies here. Who is Satoshi?
It's a great question. That's probably a collection. There's no way one man was able to.
So, I mean, obviously you can't sell this, right?
I mean, I think good.
You could sell over the course of like a while, but like,
That's not
billion.
I know, right? So,
That's 60 billion.
Yeah.
oh, okay, so he's,
Yeah.
yeah, so he's not the richest, but
When it hits a million.
he's one of the richest though.
Yeah.
What's like the top?
Elon Musk.
Yeah,
Tesla's been going crazy. He's the top.
What is it worth?
Elon Musk.
Well, I know, but isn't the market cap $1 trillion now?
Yeah. I think he's not something.
But what is it? What is that? Oh,
Huh?
is it his? I don't know. I just don't know how it works. Like what his portion of it is.
Who's?
Elon.
I don't know how much Musk owns.
Oh, you're saying Tesla?
Well, it's not just Tesla too, it's like SpaceX.
So
Boring company.
probably in the top, like, top 20 richest people right
Right by
now.
the owner of-
And it's not even, we're not even done with it for us.
Yeah, no, we're
It's
just
100K,
getting started.
and
People are
now
just
zero.
looking into
It's
crypto.
600.
This is like a great time to start crypto club. I'm gonna be honest, because
Yeah.
everyone's gonna start like looking into it more.
Oh, when it hits 100?
Yeah. So,
Oh, yeah.
well, yeah, if it's 100.
No, it's.
He's going to move it.
Let's see your,
I won't
let's
let
see your,
Bitcoin
let's see your longs.
I don't have long.
No, well,
Oh, long, like in terms of price prediction?
like longs and shorts.
I just only actual thing. I don't do long shorts.
Well, it's like if you own it, you're long Bitcoin.
I guess, but I don't do like the calls.
Gotcha.
Just hollow.
Yeah, you like options or options, yeah, that's too risky.
Fuck that.
Yeah, so, and, okay, so you asked earlier, Bitcoin versus Ethereum. So Bitcoin is old, slow, and shit. Basically, it's like gold. Like, we don't use gold as a payment anymore.
Well, you do, we did.
Yeah, we used to. I've never used gold as a payment in my life.
Yeah, it was tied to gold. Yeah, it did.
It used to be. Now it's just
Thanks for Nixon. It's always been Nixon.
Fed machines go. Yeah, so it's like, but it's because, okay, so
Using computers. Still is use cases.
yeah, so it's like gold. Like gold obviously has value.
Going from 60 to 100.
So it has been in the last 6 months.
Yeah, exactly. But how many people like own gold? Like how widely adopted is gold versus Bitcoin right now?
Gold's better than what's around.
Yeah, exactly. It has like it's like the first to the market, but also like they're both inflating, but Bitcoin will stop inflating. Like we'll all be dead probably, but so like there's only a certain amount that's like even out there, whereas like like gold will always be inflating because you can always get more. At least in our lifetime, we'll always be able to get more gold.
I mean, we'll probably find what manufacturers, and where like it in the labs.
Gold.
For sure.
Hmm?
Then it will be gold.
No, I'm saying we'll be able to.
Yeah.
Technology.
Yeah, because there wouldn't be, it would actually deflate because people would start losing gold, like say for instance, like a pirate ship be sunk. I mean, that's, it's still on Earth, but it's like lost. So like, unless we found it, then it would inflate. So it would like kind of like
I would say it's a scarcity.
deflate a little bit, but
You mind all the gold. So the price would go up.
Yeah.
But you did.
yeah. So like the value of it would go up because it's more scarce. Whereas like, say the dollar, we're printing more, so there's more dollars, so the value goes down. That's why we're seeing the prices of like certain things go up. Like Taco Bell, it's no longer $1, but it's a value.
Yeah.
That's
Fuck 'em.
Am I supposed to go midnight?
So it's up now.
That's why I don't go McDonald's.
Yeah, I stopped eating at these fast food places because you just rob them.
It's so good.
Did that make
Yes.
that make sense though? Oh, okay, I'll give it. So it's like there's like a certain amount of like, so it's like a blockchain, right? Because there's like, you basically what you do is you pile in, think of it like a shipping company or like
Money in circulation this year.
And then they thought that once that
No, the chicken at Burger King sucks. except for the meat chicken sandwich. It's just-
So now, here's this.
we have a very big one in here. Some two different things.
Oh, well, guess why I said it's slow.
Oh.
So basically what it is like, think of all these people as transactions. These are all transactions waiting to get into the block. And this is like when a block, and this is on like Ethereum, but so like when it gets filled up, the block is then submitted to the blockchain and then shipped off, or like the bus drives away, right? And then it's in that like block for the rest of Ethereum's life. Whereas, and like this happens every like few like seconds or like 12 seconds, I think, or
Does that mean
something.
it slows down over time? Because there's gonna be so much data that has to be transacted.
Yes,
It's all
but there's,
from programs.
so the thing is like he said in the thing, you can rewrite smart contracts and like replace them. So there's gonna be updates made to it.
I thought he said you can write it, it'll be there, but it's all different.
Yeah,
So
so everyone will just
So what are
start.
those have in relation to smart contracts?
Um,
What are they?
so this is like the smart contracts that are like transactions being made. So say,
Like the final-
yeah, so say if you and I used a smart contract to switch like that water bottle to this can of Arizona,
And it went through, then.
then you'd submit it to the thing, to the like inside the bus.
Yeah.
And then it would get like shipped off and it would be in there forever.
Yeah, we're forever, ever.
So that we could look back 500 years from now and see our transaction.
Well, and then the idea is like the blockchain is ran by every computer that's attached to it. So like the decentralized network is like you can set up a binding rig and it's running these transactions, smart contracts, everybody else is distributed. And I mean, that gets into like the blockchain tech.
Yeah, and you asked why it's slow. So Bitcoin, it happens like way less, and there's less, like, yeah, it's like every 10 minutes or whatever, and there's less data put into it. And it also like costs more as well.
And it doesn't actually cost that.
Well, yeah, it's, I
Relative
think
to
relatively,
giving, but if I were to send you money through a bank, to use water transactions, it's a lot less.
yeah. So it's
But international places too.
it's
It
better
is.
for right now.
It's huge for
than,
the
like,
crypto context.
But like in terms of crypto, it's like very slow. The transactions take a lot of time. And yeah. So it's like kind of like the amount of data that they allow in each block restricts it from being more. And there's actually this book called the Blockchain Wars, but it goes over, I think in 2016 or 2015, there was like a big like discrepancy in how big the block should be. But so like that's why it's kind of like slow, and like it's also not gonna like do like 50x from here. Like it's like we're saying like, oh yeah, like a million, but it's like okay, it could get
tell us
there.
what the next is planned to do.
So it is like the 20th of the market cap of gold right now, and it's Bitcoin is basically digital gold.
It is. It's the better version of gold because it has portability aspect.
Power generation. So like, hey, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's just gonna go up for a while. It will level out a long time. But
I
like,
think before,
get in.
yeah, I think it'll probably continue going up until the day we die at least.
Hard to
I don't
say.
know. Or it might like level out once like most of the blocks are in mine.
It says transaction fee there, like 42 cents, then on the other side, it's $19. What is that, $19?
Right here. So this is like the here, last block 8 minutes ago. So Ethereum is actually like really expensive.
Yeah. But I don't know why they try to put that ether first.
No, that actually makes it cost more.
I thought it was trying to level it off.
Yeah, no, that's what a lot of people understood it to be, but yeah, I can't remember the like actual like nitty-gritty of it, but so I don't really know what these median fees. But like Ethereum is actually really expensive to transact on.
Is it really that ratio of $18 to like 40 cents?
I don't know.
Well, it depends on how
Yeah, and it depends on if you're sending it through like the network or the Lightning network.
you're. Yeah, the lighting up.
Yeah, so there's like a network that they built on top of Bitcoin.
So just watch the graphic.
And that's like, it's much cheaper to just like send money to people, but it's not really like super like applicable. Like it's been around for a really long time. It's not really ever taken off. Nobody really knows much about it. Or like, but okay. Yeah, I have a couple more slides. I'll just go through real quick, but so did you guys buy anything over like the last couple weeks? I know that we hit like an all-time high. Like I heard more about crypto recently.
You know, I would say all time highs, it's not time to buy.
Yeah.
I did win it way back in the summer roll.
Okay.
It's
Nice.
like, we're all broke college kids, right?
Yeah.
Just put my money, like groceries. But,
Yeah.
like, when it dips, that's the time. Buy that.
Yeah. If you know like a little bit of technical analysis too, like you can tell when it's gonna dip. Like I knew it was gonna go down from our all-time high.
It was ahead of schedule, ROI.
Huh?
It was ahead of schedule, on return on investment.
Oh.
On prior cycles. Faster.
Yeah, and it was like
That's probably like 8 thinking, right? Yeah, when people are just like, buy.
Yeah, well, they thought it was gonna go to 300K, but it wouldn't make any sense, because that means it would outpace last cycle. But yeah, but diminishing return for real, so.
well, there is. Are you talking about that rainbow thing?
No, just talking about generally diminishing returns happen, so. Can't really go as fast.
Like, are you talking about this thing?
Oh, the logarithmic scale?
This thing?
That's one, I don't know. But that doesn't.
So-
diminish
Yeah. Wait, it doesn't?
I think the figure still, I don't know, there was one graph that showed from the halving from the bottom.
So.
Well, that's old.
Yeah. So it was supposed to go like and like die out like wherever like up here.
I know we
Never
didn't
really
hit the
got
top
there.
yet. I know we didn't hit the top yet.
Yeah,
Top is around 120.
but oh. Okay. So coin of the week. I decided to do like Jack. He's not here, but he's talking about doing like a coin of the week. And what's like a good, kind of like a good buy or whatever. And I looked at I asked him if he could do it. He wasn't able to, so I just did it. Like I didn't have like a ton of time, but I already had like a kind of like a sense of what coins are decent buys and whatnot.
Technical analysis on it.
Yeah, so here's some of my charting. I knew it was gonna go down or like at least do a move after it got to here. And then I was thinking it was gonna go down because like it's an asymmetrical triangle or whatever. And like patterns aren't super great because like basically like whales can just like
Was
fuck
it
you
lying in
over.
this last crash that happened? So
Oh,
they
yeah.
went down to $8,400.
Yeah, that was retarded.
It's low volatility.
It's like-
drop.
Binance is retarded for doing that. They should not have let that happen. But
You should just go on Binance, put a rent $10,000 buy order. Call.
yeah, that's what a lot of people do actually. But they probably won't happen again.
No, probably shouldn't have.
Yeah,
Wipe
definitely.
a
Should.
lot.
They should like definitely have like a buy order for like at least I don't know. They would have made money too if they would have put buy orders.
Yeah.
But so I mean I think it could go like up because we kind of hit this like all-time. Well, I didn't put a thing there, but we put like where we hit this level of support, and then bounced off of it pretty good. And this is like the 4-hour one too. And then we went up, and then we have like a green candle or whatever, Oh, also, if you use charts, you should change your colors from red to green and green to red. Because it basically like psychs you into thinking like, oh, like I should buy now, when it's like in reality you should be selling. Like on a run up, you want to be selling instead of buying, and on a downtrend, you want to be buying instead of selling. But that's just a little like alpha.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
yeah, it's kind of hard, but
I mean,
Were you training you or no?
yeah, this is on Train View. So I think I could see us going up, testing $2. That's kind of like around $2. It's kind of like a big number, like just like psychology wise, and then bouncing off of it a little bit, and then retest, or like going up and then retesting it and then shooting up more. And with like coins like this, obviously like Shiba, can't really fucking like track. You can't really like do that. Yeah, you can't really do like technical analysis on that because it's just like a bunch of like. You'd have to know like, I guess, what like the average teenager thinks.
Yes.
Cardano? Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's really well known. And
How long is Shiba?
No, this.
Oh, yeah, no.
so it's at its lowest since August. And I think it's not a great long-term goal, like 10 years wise. It took, what?
So why is this?
Why?
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you for asking. Just because, so like they took like 3 years to get smart contracts out, which like Ethereum did in like, I think like right when it was released. So it's like they're just really behind. The developers are like really shitty. Even like the marketing team doesn't even know the difference. They said that they were getting like smart contracts implemented, and they said that they were going to be like a L1, like a level 1 blockchain, which is like totally wrong. But like they didn't even know like what the difference was. And it's like you work for them. How do you not know that? And obviously do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. But
Have that all liquidity slides.
What?
We'll have that all liquidity slides.
But
This one just listens.
here's my idea for it. So take it. I mean, obviously I'm not right, but what? Yeah, I know, right? So come to Harvard for fun time. Is there anything else you guys like to see?
I think that was solid.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that was great.
Is there any like pros, cons, good, bad, work on shit? Like, just be brutally honest. Like, I want to make this obvious as best we can. And we don't want to be like some like boring ass like blockchain club.
I just like the open Discord. That's fun.
The what?
Open communication.
Okay.
So, you know, not a lot of people know about it.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people hold conversation about it. So being able to talk about it.
Yeah.
To other people is.
See, that's gonna be the challenge of the club, though, right? There's gonna be people who know nothing about it, and then the people who are just like there with it. Yeah.
Well, hopefully people, you know, don't know about it, stand up and ask questions.
Well, that'll be the struggle on like the slides, is putting it in a way where it still like teaches you something, but then
That's
people
true.
who know nothing is still. So like we gotta have maybe like 2 different,
Well, I mean, the best way to learn is to listen. So.
yeah, like easy slides that teach fundamental and then get into like more advanced topics where those discussions can take place.
Yeah. Well, I also want to get into like, so obviously I want this club to be like crypto, and there's a lot of different like facets to crypto. There's like trading, like research investing, like programming. There's like artists in crypto. So like I'm thinking about maybe doing like almost like breakout groups of like sorts, and having like the ability of like, oh, you're an artist, yeah, like those guys are all artists, like go and join them. Like some of them like know like 1 or 2 of them know what they're talking about. They can like kind of like talk about it or whatever. Which is hard because not a lot of people